Hey guys, it's Vito Velo Energy Healing. Welcome to my channel. So this is going to be a general reading for Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs for the month of July. Now, these messages may not resonate with every Gemini out there, so please just take what resonates with you and leave out the rest. Let's see here. All right, Gemini, let's see what we have for you this month. You know, it feels like you've been trying really hard to move on from something that mentally drained you, like for a long time. Now, this could have to do with the way someone's been acting, right? Some days you feel fine, and then there's days it just hits you all over again, and you start replaying conversations, wondering what was real and what wasn't. It's like you keep telling yourself you're done caring, and then out of nowhere, something reminds you of this person, and now your mood changes all over again. Okay, this feels like someone with Libra, Aquarius, Virgo, or Pisces energy, or they can have initials like J, M, T, R, or C. Right? This is someone who's emotionally detached, hard to read, and doesn't like talking about their feelings. Right? This person regrets how things played out, but they don't show it. And you're just kind of getting tired of pretending the situation doesn't still bother you. And honestly, I think part of the reason the situation still keeps bothering you is because this person keeps switching up on you, and it's starting to get frustrating. You know, one minute they act interested, wants your attention, wants to talk, wants closeness, you know, acts like they care. And then the next minute they pull away, act cold, disappear, and just start acting weird all over again, like nothing happened. And honestly, I think you're getting tired of trying to figure out where you stand with somebody whose words and actions don't even match half the time. You know, it's like every time you think things are finally becoming more stable between you two, something changes again, and now you're right back to overthinking the whole situation. And I think the mixed signals are starting to wear you out, because at this point, you don't even know what version of this person you're going to get from one day to the next. And honestly, I think the biggest problem here is that nobody's really saying what the actual issue is. So instead, it feels like everything just keeps getting avoided or pushed off until later. And that's part of that's part of why nothing is really getting fixed. You know, they still want your attention, they still care about you, and they still want this connection in their life, but their pride and stubbornness are getting in the way of actually fixing anything. It's like they got too comfortable thinking that you would just always be there no matter how inconsistent things got. Meanwhile, all you want is clarity, honesty, and for somebody to just stop acting like everything is just going to magically work itself out all on its own. You know, I think that's what's becoming exhausting now, because this situation could probably improve if somebody would just stop avoiding the real conversation. Okay, and the thing is, I think the part of the reason this situation still keeps happening is because neither one of you has fully moved on from this connection. Okay, no matter how weird, distant, or frustrating things became, it still feels like there's a lot left unsaid between you two. Okay, this feels like a connection that's meant a lot to you for a long time. And for some of you, this goes back to like last year around, maybe even January or even February through April. Okay, it's like even during times where you weren't even talking as much, or, things felt off between you, somebody was still thinking about the other person constantly. And that's part of why this whole situation still feels unfinished now, because deep down, somebody still believes things could eventually get better between you two, even if no one's talking about it. And if you think back between like April and June, I think that's when you started changing the way you looked at the whole situation itself. Okay, this feels like a time where you were finally starting to come out of, like a really difficult place in your life where, you were dealing with like nonstop stress, disappointment, confusion, or feeling like the person in your life who you actually cared about wasn't even supporting you. Okay, some of you stopped chasing people, stopped blaming yourselves for everything, or just started realizing that you couldn't keep putting everybody else first while ignoring what all of this was doing to you. And I think this person noticed that change in you too, because you stopped giving the same amount of time and attention to something that was, mentally exhausting you. And you know what? I think this person's been spending a lot of time alone thinking about everything that happened between you. Okay, they keep a lot to themselves, but behind closed doors, they've been thinking about you nonstop. So instead of talking about what's really bothering them, this person just kind of shuts down or keeps everything bottled up inside. And not for nothing, but the distance and silence between you guys actually made things worse, because now they're constantly wondering who you're with, what you're doing, or if things between you are completely over. Meanwhile, you're still trying to figure out how things even became this complicated in the first place. And I gotta say, I really don't think this silence is going to last much longer, because between July 12th and the 25th, this person gets tired of pretending this whole thing doesn't bother them. Okay, this is when you guys finally start talking again. And it also brings up feelings that were never dealt with in the first place. And you start to realize that dealing with somebody who keeps going back and forth like this is not something you want to keep dealing with. And honestly, I think this whole situation is starting to change the way you look at relationships and people and even yourself. Right? You're getting tired of the mixed signals, confusion, and constantly trying to figure out where you stand with somebody. At this point, I think you're starting to realize you want something stable and peaceful instead of constantly dealing with people who bring you stress or drama. Your whole mindset has been changing a whole lot lately, because you're now concerned about your future, your happiness, your home, and who actually deserves to be part of your life. And I gotta tell you, not everyone's gonna make the cut anymore. Meanwhile, this person's been thinking about everything that's happened. Okay? They're going over conversations, mistakes, things they should have said, or how things could have been different. It's like the more distance there's been between you two, the more this person keeps thinking about everything that happened. Okay? This feels like somebody with strong Cancer or Pisces energy, or they can have initials like J, S, K, D, C, L, or even T. Okay, this is somebody who's quiet, they can be moody, and the type of person that doesn't let you see how upset they really are. So instead, they'll give you the silent treatment or act like they don't care. But this person regrets a lot more than anybody realizes, and I don't think they expected this to affect them as much as it has, because now they can't stop thinking about everything that they should have said or done differently. But at the same time, I think part of you still doesn't fully trust them yet. It's like no matter how much this person thinks about you or misses you or regrets certain things, part of you keeps wondering if anything would actually be different this time around, if you just end up dealing with the same, or if you'd end up just dealing with the same BS all over again. You don't want to keep wasting your time trying to figure somebody out while, they just keep going back and forth or pulling away whenever things get, too real for them. And honestly, I think you're reaching a point where you're tired of hearing one thing and seeing another, right? You're paying much more attention to what people actually do instead of what they say. Because let's be real, okay? They could say whatever they want, but what they do is a whole different story. And by the end of the month, around July 26th to the 31st, you stop letting this whole situation affect you the way it used to. Okay? You're mentally exhausted from constantly trying to figure people out or, trying to understand why they do the things they do. And I think you start realizing that being happy matters way more than people stressing you out. Because at some point, you just get tired of the same old crap. Okay? You might still hear from them here and there, but you're not going to feel the same way anymore. Okay, you start seeing this person for who they really are, and from here on out, you're done making excuses for them. All right, guys, that's what I have for you today. If you're enjoying my zodiac readings, you can follow me or subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. If you'd like to book a session, just head over to my website, veloenergyhealing.com, or you could just message me directly. All right, thanks for watching, and until next time, sending you love and light.